the European Union and European countries in general will be affected by the US election, especially in foreign policy, because the US foreign policy or US domestic policy with the foreign policy implications has a significant impact on all aspects of the EU actions. If you look indeed at Ukraine, as already mentioned, also on the need to defend Europe in a very complex and contested security environment, the European Union and the European countries do need the United States, so far very dependent on the United States, and are struggling to develop their own European security policy and defense policy. They are advancing, but it will take time. So our relationship with Washington is essential in that regard. And also in other areas of foreign policy, such as the Middle East, the EU has found it very hard to assert a role of influence in that conflict. Or in the war in Ukraine, the EU has worked very well, but in cooperation with the United States on many aspects. And even if you go further afield, the Indo-Pacific and a potential escalation of tensions over Taiwan or in the South China Sea will have direct and indirect impacts on European security and on European economy. Obviously, the Republican Party has more of this isolationist position due to Trump's presence, but there is also a good portion of independent and democratic voters who say that the US should take care of its own issues or should refocus its strategy towards a few key threats, and China comes to mind. So in all that, it basically indicates that the EU has to do more for its own defense. It should expect the United States to try to pull back a little bit, and the EU must be ready to compensate for that, because at the end of the day, European security is the EU's own necessity.